Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to do an update on Hasbro. They had their Q1 earnings call this morning, or earning report this morning. And the good news is it's not as bad as they thought. The bad news is they're still in big trouble. They're still sliding.
I know. People are like, this didn't age well because you're wrong. It's like, no, did you read the report?
They did not read the report. It's still bad. I think they... a lot of people were expecting the absolute worst case scenario, and it's next to the worst case.
Yeah, it's better than the worst case scenario, but it's not good either. But their stock is going up.
Yeah,
so
because people are
that.
like, well, they're not completely destroyed yet. But this does explain, again, back to the video we did yesterday where analysts were thinking it was going to be like really, really, really bad. The reason I think they threw Cynthia Williams overboard, and the reason that they're making the deals for Power Rangers to go to Playmates, and the reason there's some other deals that were announced today as well, is they want to be a rights holder company. They want to be like Embracer Group or something, and just like have all this stuff and then just outsource it.
Right, which honestly, outsourcing the Ninja Turtles, or no, it was Power Rangers. They already did Ninja Turtles. The Playmates was actually really smart. I think that's a smart move.
Playmates makes better toys.
Yes.
I mean, they do.
It's weird that a toy company has to outsource another toy company,
right?
But I think that was a good play. However, that being said, they are not out of the woods by any means.
No, so let's talk about this. I think they need to get rid of Chris Cox. I
agree, 100%.
His watch, they've turned this once prestigious toy giant into a freaking money-losing laughingstock. They want to be a video game company, but then the best developers they had, Larian Studios, they jumped ship too. So I don't know who they think is going to make their games.
And ironically, some of the gains they made were because of Baldur's Gate 3, which they aren't going to have more of because the Larian's already out. So, yeah.
Let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you get a woohoo if you do. Woohoo! If you want to get more exclusive content, go out to patreon.com/clownfishtv. Let's check this out. This is coming from Toy Book. We've got, let's see, a CNBC version of it, which kind of buried it. They said that they're easing the sales decline, seeking alpha. Like this, okay, they always put the good spin on it. Hasbro trims inventory, increases profitability in Q1. A penny per share. I think they're up.
Yeah, they're just a profit of, up from 1 cent per share a year ago.
Adjusted profit. Adjusted profit.
And 33% above what people thought they were going to do.
30%,
yeah. So they said the total revenue is still down 24%.
That's not good, guys. Okay, you got a D-, you didn't get an F, but still not good.
Basically, yeah.
It's still not good because here Toy Book spells it out. They said Hasbro Q1 earnings, revenue slides as business model evolves. And they led with the revenue slide. They said, while the company beat Wall Street estimates on profit and margin, revenue still slid 24% versus Q1 last year amid a massive 21% decline in its consumer products segment, which includes toys and games. Hasbro attributes the decline to the offloading of its E1 film and TV business and the continued inventory cleanup that sent closeout products to the likes of Ollie's, Ross Dress for Less, TJ Maxx, Burlington, and other outlets last year.
And some landfills.
In some landfills, yeah. This is what Chris Cox said. The first quarter was a good start. This is what he said. The first quarter was a good start to the year for Hasbro. We are continuing to see results from our transformation work. Performance from our licensing portfolio shows the strength of our brands, and we continue to fuel innovation in games and toys as we expand our reach across play patterns to fans of all ages.
Okay, I'm going to translate.
The
first quarter was a good start of the year for Hasbro. We're continuing to see the results of our transformation work, meaning we laid off a bunch of people. We offloaded a bunch of stuff to Ollie's and Ross's. We had Baldur's Gate and stuff, and now we're not going to have it. But we did all this stuff, which is basically just we made stuff cheaper, we made stuff shittier, we fired a bunch of people, we sold off our entertainment arm, and all that. That's not a win. Performance from our licensing portfolio shows the strength of our brands. We're going to double down on more IP shit and licensing it out to people, which is probably a good move, actually. And we continue to fuel innovation in games and toys as we expand our reach across play patterns. Basically, we're going to fuel innovation in games as long as everything's Monopoly Go across play patterns, meaning Monopoly Go and more digital online gaming. Because they're not doing innovation in toys at all. They're not making anything new.
No, they're not. I mean, I was thinking about this again last night. I was like, I don't remember the last time Hasbro actually came up with any new toy lines that were theirs, that were something that they came up with in-house. Because once they got the Disney license, they basically just like gave up on making new stuff. They're like, well, we got Disney now. We can just bet on that.
Even like they brought the Furby and stuff. That's something from like the 90s.
Tiger Electronics made that. Hasbro didn't even make it.
They just acquire, and it's Disney 2.0. And then you see how Disney's doing? Now Hasbro's following suit. And basically what they want to do is they want to be more about making movies and shows, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit, and, banking and like squeezing out everything they can out of the IP they have access to.
Yep.
Same as Disney.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think this downward spiral started before Chris Cox. Chris Cox was in charge of Wizards, but originally it was Brian Goldner, again, not to speak ill of the dead, but he was the one who decided when the first Transformers movie did well that they were going to go all in on movies. And that was about the time, that would have been 2006, 2007. That was about the time that they just gave up on making new stuff.
The way they talk in circles is just hilarious.
Oh, this is very Disney.
Muddy your waters too pure deep.
Yeah, so they said Wizards and digital gaming saw revenue growth of 7%, which would be Baldur's Gate, I'm sure, while entertainment driven by Peppa Pig saw a 65% spike absent the 85% hit from the E1 sale. Now, they're going to build a Peppa Pig theme park in China.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be the world's largest and Asia's first.
In China. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense because if you don't build it, they'll just make a bootleg one. That's why Disney, that's why Disney opened their parks over there, because they had bootleg Disneyland in China. But like all this stuff, everybody's like, oh, we're going to make a theme park of this or that or whatever. And it's like, yeah, they're going to do it overseas. I think they are doing a Peppa Pig land or something over here though. But yeah, we made solid progress in our turnaround efforts in the first quarter, said Gina Getter. She's the one who said she wants to start making stuff on the cheap.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's keep going.
Yep, we landed revenue where we expected and drove significant operating profit improvement.
That means we made stuff cheaper.
Yep, led by our operational excellence program and improved business mix. We remain on track for our full year commitments.
Meanwhile, the stuff they're putting out looks like shit. You might get a $15 Transformer toy, but it looks like a $15 Transformer toy, and it feels like a $5 Transformer toy.
The only Transformers worth buying, I'm looking at what's coming out, are the Pulse toys. And you're basically paying $100, $200 for a Transformer that used to be $50. And that's the truth. Like, I'm looking at the Armada Prime they had on. You sent me a link to that. And I'm like, I think he was out already. But I'm looking at him and I'm like, yeah, he's $90 now. Like, the Armada Prime, when he originally came out, was, I want to say he was $40 or $50. And he probably was built better than the new ones are. Looking ahead, this is what's important, and this is like buried all the way down here. All right, and the CNBC article. Looking ahead, Hasbro expects consumer products revenue for the year to decline 7 to 12%, Wizards to dip 3 to 5%, and entertainment revenue to decline by $15 million.
But it's only because we're turning the business around.
No, if you're turning the business around, one or two segments might take a hit. But some of the other segments would be up.
They're like 41% growth in Peppa Pig. Well, no one really gives a shit about Peppa Pig anymore. So, I mean, if you start promoting it and you start putting toys out, maybe you might get a growth. But 41%. So if you've like $1, 41 cents isn't a whole lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, they bought E1 mostly to get a hold of Peppa Pig because they're like, oh, we can make a bunch of Peppa Pig toys.
Yeah, they sold it back. They sold it when they kept some of the stuff from it. Yeah.
Well, that was like that company that those two Disney guys started, was a Candle Media. They went and they bought Cocomelon thinking that, Cocomelon toys are going to be this like evergreen thing. But like Hasbro's got Playskool, the Playskool brand. I don't think they do much with it.
No, not anymore. They're doing reissues of old toys. That's about it.
Yeah, Basic Fun's doing reissues of.
Well, they're going to mention Basic Fun here in a minute, but go back up first. They're saying that the company says the relaunched Furby brand continues to perform well. It actually is really cute right now. I will say that. 41% growth in Peppa Pig. Hasbro Gaming 6%. Matches are getting 4%, and D&D 3%. These are not big, huge margins. Peppa Pig is outpacing your Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons margins. Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig.
That's a win, right?
That's why she's getting her own theme park in China.
That's a win. So I'm sure the toys are going to be made really cheap. So they go down here below. Now, here's they mention it. The fruits of Hasbro's licensing efforts should start to pay off. For those playing along at home, Little's Pet Shop relaunched via Basic Fun in January to a solid response. Yeah, it did, because they're actually really, really good. I do think Hasbro, it's weird, but Hasbro licensing the toy things out to companies that can actually do them well and make them nice and make them affordable is smart. The new pet shops are good. They have Pinky Boo's seal of approval. Girl has a massive Little's Pet Shop collection. She loves them. So
it's just so weird. That would be like if Mattel was like, okay, well, they kind of are doing that. If Mattel was like, hey, yeah, we own Barbie and Hot Wheels, and historically we've always made Barbie and Hot Wheels, but we're just going to license Barbie and Hot Wheels out to some other toy company.
Yeah, it's weird, but in Hasbro's case, I'm glad they are, because I would hate to see what we get if they kept it. If they did Little's Pet Shops, they'd be those non-bobblehead pieces of crap. They're like really tiny.
Oh,
and then they want like, $20 for like, 3. So it's probably good that it's not them, honestly.
I don't understand. I'm trying to pinpoint like where they, and I do think it was Brian Goldner, but I'm like, where did you guys go wrong? Because honestly, Hasbro should have more buying power than Basic Fun. They should have more buying power than Playmates, or what was the other one? Just Play, Easy Bake Oven now.
But you're assuming though, because that they're still doing a toy company, those companies are just making toys. Like they probably have better buying power because they're just making toys. Hasbro was too busy focusing on D&D and movies, and they weren't putting the effort into toys they used to. So they might not have the connections they used to have. Yeah, Just Play is doing Easy Bake and For Real Friends, and the Play School portfolio is a Play Monster, which we talked about that the other day.
I mean, this is just like, I don't know. I can't wrap my head around this. I'm like, you were the biggest toy company. Now you don't even make your own damn toys. And I think before it's all said and done, I think they're already testing the waters. I think they will eventually outsource even like the G.I. Joes to Super 7 or somebody.
They're not going to do the Star Wars ones, though, because, Disney, they can't. Like, they have would they have princesses too, or does Mattel have that now? It keeps flipping back and forth.
I don't know.
But those ones they're going to keep doing because they have to, because Disney's paying them to do it. They're being the basic fun for Disney. You know what I mean?
I have to wonder if, because there was talk at one point. I remember there was talk at one point that Disney was actually going to buy Hasbro because they wanted the movie properties. They wanted Transformers.
Yeah, but they sold off that now. Well, the E1, they still have the properties.
And I think if Brian Goldner was still around, that might have actually happened. But anyway, I'm just like, this is just so weird. I don't think they're going to renew. I mean, if it were me, I wouldn't touch the Disney franchise, Disney license with a 10-foot pole because they got burnt.
From my understanding, Hasbro almost didn't take Disney back because, like, I guess they lost so much money on Star Wars after the sequels.
Yeah.
That I remember when The Mandalorian came out, they did not have toys for it, which was colossally stupid. Everybody started making their own at home, their own products for it. But they didn't have toys, and they argue it was because they didn't want stuff to get leaked. And that could be the case. But I do remember Mattel actually had Baby Yoda toys first, Grogu toys before Hasbro did. Because I think they were competing, and Mattel was going to go after the license because Hasbro basically said they didn't want it, and then all of a sudden they wanted it again. But then they've been making toys, and they're ending up at Ollie's too.
Yeah, so weird because, I mean, Disney has destroyed the value of Star Wars. I mean, on no planet should the Kenner-style retro figures be collecting dust at Ollie's. On no planet should legacy characters like Vader and Obi-Wan and Luke Skywalker be collecting dust at Ollie's. Like, that stuff always sold.
The prices on them are so ridiculous, though, too. Like, the Boba Fett figures were like $35. I'm like, that's stupid.
Now they're $5.
Ours is still like 17. Our Walmart sucks. But they were always too high. I mean, that's just it. But they were nicer quality, but they were too high. So, I mean, part of it is the way it's what it is because of the way the economy is and the way, these places are trying to please shareholders and they have to cut every corner possible.
I think that's it. I think the difference with, and I could be wrong, I don't think these other toy companies are publicly traded. The fact that Hasbro is a public company means that you always, always, always have to show the line going up. You always have to show that you're making more profit. You always have to show the shareholders that you're trying real hard. Like they're not gonna be like, yeah, go invest, $10 or $50 million or whatever into R&D to come up with some new toy lines. They're not going to agree to that. They're going to be like, well, that's going to take a bite out of our profit. So you
don't know if it's going to succeed.
Right.
It's like
right.
Hollywood. We're only going to redo everything that's already been done, to death because we know that there's an audience for it instead of trying to find something new. Now, the one thing they're going to double down on is back to what you said, being an IP holder, a rights holder.
Yeah.
Because now they made a deal with Sony for Clue.
Yeah.
I mean, Sony's been doing so great lately. Madam Web was just amazing.
Yeah.
They made a deal with Sony to do Clue film and TV adaptations. Now, is this the old Clue or is this the new Clue where we just had to, make it super, super like diverse and inclusive?
Oh yeah. They went and they mixed up. Let's see if I can find that.
How about the potato people? Why don't we get the potato people show?
Potato persons? Oh, they'll outsource Potato Head too, because that's I guarantee you they'll outsource it. Hold on, let me see if I can find that new Clue. Guess what the first result was from Out Magazine? The gays are loving Hasbro's new reimagined Clue game characters. Isn't she on Food Network?
I had no idea.
Ms. White or whatever. So this is the new Clue, guys. The very diverse.
She's got the half shaved head. They had to make sure there's different body styles.
That's Mindy Kaling. So I don't Santa Claus for some reason, but
Hipster
Santa. No, he needs like a handlebar mustache or something. Yeah, the Tim Curry movie is awesome. They're never gonna beat that. They will never beat that. But like, I can totally see them outsourcing D&D to somebody else. I think it's gonna happen. If Power Rangers was one of their biggest moneymakers, they were making like the Mighty Morphin line. They were making all kinds of money off the Mighty Morphin characters, and they just decided to outsource it. And you didn't see those rotting on Ollie's shelves as much as you did Star Wars, and you know what I'm saying? Because I got some of the, and I actually did buy them. I bought some of the Zords. They had like 7-inch Zord figures. They didn't transform or anything, but I got them for like $4 or $5 each, and I bought a whole bunch of them because I thought they were pretty cool. But yeah, the fact that they're outsourcing they're outsourcing Littlest Pet Shop, which was one of their biggest brands in the 2000s. Like, I don't think anything's off the table at this point. I think they're going to wind up just outsourcing everything.
But back to the main point, it's not something being not as bad as you expected does not mean. But this happened with Disney last time too. The media initially was running with, it's better expectations. When you actually read what they were saying, it wasn't that great. And then a few days later, people started reading what was said, and they're like, "Oh, wait, that's not great."
No.
And then they started asking questions. Then the articles started coming out about, "Wait, this doesn't add up." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's kind of what's going on here.
Yeah, they said the first quarter profit beat an eased sales decline.
Yeah, but the sales they're
still sliding.
At least they're being upfront and telling people to expect bigger declines. So there's that. At least they're being honest about it.
Yeah, Tuesday, Mattel posted a smaller than expected loss for the first quarter, helped by its cost savings measures. I think that's what's going to happen. I think all these big companies now that have all these big IP, I think they're just going to be like, if you want to make toys, go for it. We don't want to get burnt. Because how much did they lose, having to dump all this stuff off at Ollie's? And yeah, I think it's funny that the toy book flat out said, this is where the Hasbro stuff is going to die. Ollie's and Ross.
It is. Everybody knows it. You can't hide it.
Burlington, like piles and piles and piles.
They said, we unloaded a bunch of inventory. You basically sold it for, on the cheap, pennies per dollar, on the dollar to places like Ollie's and Ross's and stuff. And that's why we were getting, Mattel did it too. I'm not going to say they didn't. Mattel was doing the same thing because that's how we got all those He-Mans at like Ross's dirt cheap.
They're still sitting there, like Battle Cat and Panther. You can find them.
At Ollie's,
They want too much. You want like $20 for
them. There's a bunch at Ollie's. Ross's actually blew them out pretty fast. They were at Five Below for $5 for
we got Masterverse figures. Yeah, the new waves of Masterverse figures. We picked them up for $5 each.
Right.
He-Man's fine, everybody.
It's
all good. Super 7's. I think what's going to happen is like Super 7 is going to wind up making the collectible lines. Hasbro and Mattel will do the the creations, the crowdfunding stuff, but they're gonna get out of the just everyday toys because there's not a lot of profit in it. But
it's gonna offset. You're gonna have somebody else take care, license it out to somebody else. Which is honestly, given the quality I've seen lately out of Hasbro, that's probably for the best. I mean, I guarantee you, if it comes from Playmates, it's probably gonna be made better.
Playmate stuff is good. We did, if you go out to the Clownfish Gaming channel, a couple of weeks ago, we did a
it was
review.
more than a couple weeks ago, baby. It was like a month or two ago.
Like a month or
2 months ago. He really has no sense of time.
I don't really have a sense of time.
He really truly doesn't.
But if you go out to the gaming channel, we did a review. We bought a $10 Hasbro Star Wars figure. We bought a $17 4-inch Stormtrooper action figure. $17 for a Stormtrooper.
It's true.
And then we bought a $10 Ninja Turtle, and hands down, the Ninja Turtle was the best value. It was the best built.
And that was Playmates.
And that was Playmates. So,
I mean, it is smart on Hasbro's part to go find somebody else who could do it better and do it well and do it, and they don't have to have a bunch of inventory they have to offload to Ollie's.
yeah, that's true. That's true. So
It'd be interesting to see down the road if, like, in a year of the Playmates, ones end up at Ollie's, or the basic fun stuff ends up at Ollie's. But I don't think it's gonna. Not in the numbers we're seeing with the Hasbro Direct stuff.
No, it might be that they're not making as many as
true.
Hasbro too.
They might not make as many, which is probably smart. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, it's not. I think there are some definite upsides, but I think there's a lot of downsides that they're just glossing over.
Oh yeah, they're still gonna slide. It's just they're not gonna slide down.
They said that.
Yeah,
we're still gonna fail. We're just not. But
we're gonna buy Chris Cox another couple of quarters before they decide to get rid of him. Or they merge. Oh God, they'll merge with Embracer Group and become like Potato People and Friends.
And Friends.
Peppa Potato and Friends.
Oh my. Anyway,
that's what they're gonna do.
Ham and potatoes.
Yeah.
Are we done?
Yeah. Oh God, soup. It's a IP soup. Are we gonna wrap it up?
Yes.
Please subscribe. We'll talk later.
Bye.